what the fuck's the point of telling us that we have a specific amount of time if you're not gonna give us that specific amount of time? They were probably just sitting there doing shots. So like, I dare you to push it. I dare you to push the button. Just, I dare you to push it.
We gave you a fair warning. Now we are going to just pull the plug.
In communist Russia, games screw you. What is this? Episode 18? Yeah, cool.
Episode 18?
18. We're getting up there.
We're legal. We're legal,
boys and girls and people of all ages. I am one of your co-hosts, Shid.
And I'm your other co-host, the more attractive co-host, Talented. We're here ready again for episode 18. We are now legal.
So,
and actually, we're going to start this off right, too. So, I'm going to show you this.
World of Warcraft mug. No, I haven't seen that. Nice.
So we got that. And one of these.
There you go. An Oktoberfest. It's not October yet.
Yo, I started early this year. Usually I don't. Like, Dad contemplated disowning me when I started as early as I did. But you know Oktoberfests are my favorite beers. Oh, and here's the... Can you read that?
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's a fun glass. But yeah, you guys are supposed to get Yingling out there now, right?
At some point. Not sure when it's going to be coming or not.
Because this is actually a fairly good Oktoberfest, and you know Oktoberfests are my favorite.
I just want the flight.
You liked that much when you had it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I love the flight.
Cheers.
But yeah, cheers. Oh, wait, hold on. Cheers. There we go. I had to reach underneath my mic. But yeah, so that's funny that your glass is wow, because I kind of wanted to I know the idea of this podcast is pretty free form, just talk about whatever the hell we want for an hour and a half and just get on with it. But I was thinking up ideas, trying to like freeform think, kind of like the podcast, about ways that we could kind of focus conversation, but not really focus conversation. And I came up with the idea of, I play a shit ton of Tarkov, you play a shit ton of WoW, so why don't we just revolve conversation around what's happening in the games, in our games of choice, and then just talk about like what's new in the hood and like what changes they're doing, things like that, like what we're excited about, what we're not, and then just see where conversation goes from there. But I mean, I was just kind of thinking to keep things consistent, not just for us, but for our viewers and listeners, like so they know kind of what to expect, but also not like pigeonhole us into we're only talking about Formula One racing. Like, no, we both play our respective games, which can lead to other things and other interests, but they're both games as a service games, so they're constantly updating things, putting out new content, new features, everything like that, so there's always going to be something to talk about. And I kind of thought that might be at least a good like jumping off point.
For sure. And again, that could be with any game we're playing though too, because like how I've stepped away, like I haven't touched WoW since I picked up Assassin's Creed, so that could be the game that I'm talking about as of now too. But yeah, I'm all for that, because that's actually kind of what I wanted. One of the things I wanted to talk about today, actually, because I beat Black Flag yesterday, so that was actually kind of for me a pretty quick game, especially being a dad and not having as much time to game as I used to already have it beat. And I also didn't just play straight through the main sequence. Like I did a lot of the side stuff first already too. But being a completist, I'm still going back and doing everything else. But that game overall, just super well done. The artwork's amazing in there, the character development, all the characters that you encounter, and you get to learn about their stories and stuff like that. Just very, very good. At first, I thought the plot was a little lacking because it seemed scattered. There were like two storylines, it felt like, but everything arced into one at the end. And then it just got me to thinking like, okay, this was actually fantastic writing. which then just had me thinking about creative writing and what goes into creative writing and creative writers for video games and creative writers for just any type of content out there. That's an impressive skill to have, being a creative writer, um, especially when you're coming up with stuff that's completely original and you get to take it and run your own thing with it. Um, but like this, I feel like Assassin's Creed's a little different because there are historical accuracies that they're trying to operate within. So like a lot of the like characters in the game are based off historical figures in real life from that time period. So I thought that was really cool learning about that. But just like thinking about like when I play through games now, because part of the reason I play through games is for the plot and story and stuff. When I sit back and try to think about like, man, someone or like a team of people even came up with this. Like this is so intricate in so many respects when you have, all these different characters, all their different backstories that then tie together and bring everyone in. And you get the main plot, then you get the subplots and stuff like that. Like I don't know, it's just a little mind-boggling at times to think of how much thought goes into that writing.
Oh yeah, and like not only do you have like full creative freedom and everything like what you're saying, and you're making up new content, and in the example of Assassin's Creed, like you also have historical references, so you
Mm,
have to somehow make your new like made up shit make sense in like a historical setting.
yep, to jive
But
with that.
like you're also doing it in an open world asynchronous video game to
Mhm.
where that player can go and get bite-sized pieces of the story that you wrote at any point. Like they could go talk to someone and see something over in one city, but then when you wrote that, you had this whole storyline and you're like, okay, after they talk to this person, I want them to go do this, do this, do this will happen, whatever. So if you have like interlocking storylines that one
Yep.
depends on another and stuff, you have to start doing like gating and making sure that different like checks and balances are met before certain things
Mhm.
like you have to start thinking fourth dimensionally.
Right?
Like
You're not thinking fourth dimensionally.
yeah,
But I
it's
mean, all
it's
these games are
definitely
made in Japan, right? And the best stuff comes from Japan. You get that reference too? Ha ha
yeah,
ha.
there any how many Back to the Future references can we just shotgun in like 30
Ha.
seconds?
We need to get Dad in on this episode then.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Oh, oh man,
yeah.
great Scott. I bet we can get quite a few in here.
Well, there was just a I just read like a fan theory about that actually. Like they were talking about how why the 2015 in Back to the Future 2 it was not the 2015 that we got, and they said that you have to watch all three to understand why. And it's because in the end of 3, when Marty comes back from 1885, he leaves his hoverboard as well as Doc back in 1885. So he was able to, with the hoverboard and the technology and the mind that he had, create a steam powered time machine out of a train, which then had ripple effects through the space time continuum that jump started technological innovation to where they had all the cool shit in 2015.
Wow,
And I'm
this
like,
I
that
mean,
actually makes sense. Think, McFly, think.
at
Yeah.
least yeah. That's insane though. So I don't know, it kind of makes it sound like though that they're trying to say that Back to the Future parallels with real life. And because of Back to the Future now this is the life that's been created, which would also be crazy if you think about or
Well, Back to the Future is heralded held her brain just like it
and I
just
can't
skipped it.
help because I don't even know
No,
what you were trying to do. So
Back to the Future is recognized as one of the most scientifically accurate time travel movies.
Mm, according to Avengers Endgame, it isn't though.
I mean,
Why
Marvel
don't we
time travel is just
why don't we just go back to when Thanos was a baby and
yeah. Like
One, ew, or one, that's wrong. It's Thanos.
but like brain, my brain's just not working. Um,
Eat more whipped cream.
yeah, I just need more sugar. The Marvel time travel mechanic crap
Through the
is
quantum realm
actually
and stuff.
it's just hilarious how Marvel does it. So they'll be like, let's just do whatever the hell we want, and we'll retcon it in the next movie. Like
Right.
we'll make it make sense after. Let's just do cool shit, and then we'll figure it out later.
I mean, were
We'll
they
add
really? Were they?
we'll add like 4 movies into what's supposed to be like a 2-year span between films that explains everything. Like
Were they really like that off from each other though?
what do you mean?
If we think about Back to the Future, so he's saying, he couldn't go to the future to not buy the book or whatever, because now if he went to the future, he was going to the future of this new timeline that they're on. He goes, so he'd be going to 2015 of this timeline where Biff still rules everything. So the only way to do it was actually go back in the past to where Biff did the transition back in the past and stop that from happening, which that's kind of what they allude to in Avengers, right? Because that's what they say, if we go back in time, um, and if you were to kill Thanos, it wouldn't fix this timeline. It would, he goes, because by going back in past, the past that you're going back to is now technically your present, and your new future is irrelevant of the timeline you left. So it's kind of the
Yeah,
same concept,
that's what I'm
right?
talking about. Is yeah, there's a lot of like science sites and stuff and like theoretical physicists that
Because
have
I don't know, like
quoted Back to the
I
Future as
the
being
way,
the most scientifically accurate in.
like and yeah, and I could see that, but I feel like Endgame was doing the same thing though. Like what Hulk is saying, he goes, by going to the past, your past is now your future. If you think about it, because if you were to stay and live in your past, you're living in your past. But because wherever you are in time is your present, your past is actually now your future.
Yes.
By reliving your past is actually your future now.
Well, no, it's not. Your past isn't actually your future. Your past then also becomes your future.
Well, yeah,
So
yeah.
your past exists in the past and
As
your
but
current
because of
future.
where you are, it's like you being
But
plotted on a graph. You're a
yep,
single point on this graph that you were here.
yep,
Sorry, I don't know if I was out of
yep.
frame, but you were here. Now you went back here. So yes, I am technically in the past, but relative to my spec, my dot, this is all my future again now, because I'm
Yep.
still moving. I still have to move forward through that.
But like what you just said, it's relative.
It
Like
is. It's
so
relative.
it's you also exist in the past. So that past is something different for that version of you. Like
Hey, in case you're wondering, I pulled a book out of Tony Stark's handbook here. If you're wondering how I became a master in time travel overnight,
yeah,
no, catch that reference.
you just read the secret of your shirt.
Yes,
Just
yes, this was off of last episode. I said I was going to wear the Pi Day shirt when we referenced that in last episode. Which I think the last time I wore this shirt was actually the day Vivian was born.
really.
Yeah, because she's a Pi Day baby. So,
Oh, is she?
hey,
Yeah, she
did you
is.
did you catch did you didn't catch the Avengers reference though?
Yeah, no, I did.
When
Yeah.
when he's talking about, yeah, he's like, they're like, well, when did you become an expert in gamma
You,
radiation? He goes, overnight.
you know, it's funny because every time you tell a joke and someone doesn't like laugh or whatever, you're like nail, meat, hammer. And you just like beat it in.
Because I'm assuming you don't get it.
It's just funny. Like
I
I
mean,
love
you've
it.
you've you've been away for so long. I don't know if you still have the Pit movie quoting gene.
Yes. Yes, I can. I just don't have
You're
anyone
you're you're
around me
you're in a
that
you're
appreciates
in a
it.
new exactly. So you're in a new environment that has new environmental factors. So mutation takes effect, and that gene has mutated. You
No,
lost
no,
that
no,
gene.
no. No, my nurture is currently overpowering my existing nature. Well,
But
thank you for coming to our Bill Nye podcast.
yes. Oh, I saw that the other day. Lindsay actually is the one who, I think she's the one who shared it back for whatever. Yeah, she was. It was Bill Nye. They just showed it was a meme or whatever, and it says Bill Nye the Science Guy. It says, can we think of other historical figures that you could like make a rhyme with that, with their names? So you got Bill Nye the Science Guy, and the number one liked comment on the thread was Jeffrey Dahmer the People Dahmer.
That's horrible.
I know it's terrible, but it's hilarious. I spent like the next like hour trying to think of other famous people that could be done, and I got nothing.
No, I'm sure you could come up with.
Um, Coming back to the like creative writing and stuff, though. You hit it
Kelsey
there.
Grammer, the submariner hammer.
Jeez. Need to get. I want you to do Ted Kaczynski and make that happen.
Ted Krasinski. Wait. I don't know. Give me a second. I need to think of something there. I can make it work.
If you can pull that one off. With the creative writing though, like you hit it there. No, don't cheat. I see what you're doing. Don't cheat.
I'm trying to see how the last name is. Okay. Wait, the Unabomber?
Yes.
Theodore. Okay. Yeah, I can make it work.
You're not allowed to use
Theodore. but okay, what were you saying about the thingy?
No, yeah, about the thingy. So the thingy about the thingy is with the creative writing, like that's the part that's most impressive to me. Like what you were saying about how you have all these different characters and they have all their subplots to them and everything. And then especially like if you're progressing along the line with one of these characters right now and it's going to tie back in with another character, that just the way that you have to make it all make sense and always cross check yourself to make sure that as you're making these stories come back together that you're not missing something, or you bring it in at a time where it doesn't make sense because the other character missed something or whatever. Who knows? It's impressive to me when they can make it fluid and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's
And just the amount
specific
of thought
software that'll help you do that too. You just
in
dump
the
shit in.
gaming environment.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's script writing stuff for like movies and novels and everything, but in the game environment, there's like narrative game story development software to where you just build characters and then give them like personalities and stories and stuff, and then you can start plotting it out in like kind of like a mind map type like spider web thing, and like drawing line connections and putting in dependencies and everything.
Maybe that's something I need to download then with the book I want to write, because that's kind of where I'm at right now with that. Oh, yeah, oh, I lost my headset. Screw it, it's out of reach. I was grabbing my journal. I was gonna try to show my journal with all my thoughts jotted down for the book. I don't wanna really
What?
don't want to offer too much about the book on the podcast because it's currently intellectual property and I don't want intellectual theft.
Yeah, okay.
But no, like with the subplots and character development and just when characters are going to meet other characters and things like that, and how like that's kind of what I'm currently working on or thinking about. But yeah, writing a book is by no means linear from all the stuff I've looked at. You don't just write chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. It's all over the place.
Why not? I mean, you probably could.
You probably could, but that's usually not how ideas pop into your head.
Yeah,
Like
that's
the
true.
ideas pop into your head out of order or whatever. And so but you always want to jot things down and you don't necessarily know where it's going to fall yet.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
But, yeah.
Yeah, so
What I was gonna. Oh, you still thinking of Ted Kaczynski? Is that what
No,
you're working on?
no. What? Sorry, what were you gonna say? I was gonna kind of.
Oh, I
I
was
had
just gonna
something
say.
on the tip of my tongue, but go for it.
Oh, some creative writing that I've loved from the past, actually. And this will be a blast from both our pasts. If you think about it, it was some great writing. Red vs. Blue.
Oh yeah, God, that was such. I actually just quoted that the other day. What were we doing? We were doing something,
What are
and
some? Oh, go ahead.
we were playing Tarkov, and someone someone said something. Oh, one of my buddies just got back from Mexico, and I was like,
Oh,
"See
the
any
Chupacabras.
chupacabras or see any chupa thingies?" And he goes, "What did I tell you about snaking up animals?" And
It's
I'm like, "Yes."
it's so great when they just play it in. I was expecting you to say Tarkov. You're gonna say someone got headshot, and then like some, I don't know if you can revive each other in Tarkov or whatever. You're like,
Not
what'd you do
yet.
to revive him? You rub his
Rub his
neck with
neck
aloe
with
vera.
aloe vera.
Well, that's with a bullet wound to the foot. What'd you do? Rub my neck with aloe vera?
Yeah, no,
What are some of your
that's good
favorite
stuff.
lines from that?
The chupa thingy.
Hmm.
I like the how dumb do they think I, or what is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, what's
Elbow
he
grease.
say? Elbow grease. How dumb do they think I am? When I get back from the store with that headlight fluid, I'm gonna have a talk with the general or something. Like,
That one.
yeah,
Um, I
the
really.
oh, that's what we're running around too, and I was like, Madre de Dios.
Dude, I knew you could pick up chicks in a tank. Sheila. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, I never
that
watched beyond season three though, because didn't they go to
yeah.
like 11 seasons or something like that?
Oh yeah, yeah. They went all the way up through like Halo Reach, I think.
I think
I don't know if they're still going or
one of my favorite episodes. I think it's like one of the first ones in season three when they finally at the end of season two they finally all go through the portals to get off of Blood Gulch, and they wake up on, oh, I forget what map that was, but they wake up on the capture the flag map, and then it's before the game
not.
started, and it's, is it Caboose and Church or whatever, or Caboose and
Yeah.
Tucker rather, and he goes, hey look, more sleeping people.
Yeah.
And then they all just wake up and the game just commences, like what the fuck.
So just running around like crazy. No,
Rocket launchers going off like crazy.
or when they get off there and they end up in what was it? It wasn't Narrows. It was the one Halo 3 map that was like the inside of like some testing facility that just had like portals in every fucking nook and cranny.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
you go through the one on the floor and you come out like from the ceiling or something, and they're just like running around trying to figure out like what goes where, and like that one was good too. But yeah,
Not
they go all the way forward, and then there was, I forget what season it was, but Church actually goes all the way back. Like he goes back in time to the game that Halo was like derived from, like Bungie's first game called Marathon.
oh
Like
yes.
it was a yeah.
Do you remember Mr. Kemp, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was real good friends with his son. Try not to name drop too much on here. That was my way around it. um, yeah, he was huge into Marathon, and he used to always, whenever we'd hang out, he'd always be playing it and showing me stuff in it. But yeah, he loved Marathon.
Yeah, that's an old game.
Hmm.
But
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Not
Where
to
are you getting
linger
at?
too much on creative writing though, just one other thing I want to ask, like what are some of yours as far as like video game franchises, or just not necessarily franchise, just individual games, but some of your favorite games due to the story of the game that you've played?
Last of Us. The
Haven't
Last
played.
of Us is great. You don't have a PlayStation, so you wouldn't be able
Oh,
to play it.
oh, it's one of the exclusives again.
Yep. Uh,
Go back and watch episode 8 or whatever it was. They were talking about exclusives.
so that one is really good story wise. Metal Gear Solids are great. They're the most convoluted, esoteric, random, like thought-provoking thing in the world, but they're just a wild ride. I wouldn't really say that Zeldas are good story-wise.
Well,
like, it's got a good story. It's got a solid story, but I wouldn't go, "Wow, that game's phenomenal."
I mean, because any Zelda you pick up, you already know what the objective is before you even really play it. What the objective is going to be before you even really play it.
Grab the golden shiny triangles, save the blonde girl, kill the pig. Like,
kill the pig.
yep.
That could be our title for this episode too. Kill the pig. But what I like about Zelda though is, so yeah, every game is pretty much the same story, I guess. But the timelines of them, you have the timeline of Ganon getting sealed away. You have the timeline of Ganon not getting sealed away, and those are the more darker games, which I believe Majora's Mask is that timeline. That's also where Oracle of Ages and Seasons are, I think, or something like that too. And
I
then you
thought,
have the pre-Master Sword timelines and stuff like that too. That stuff, I think, is we could pull up the Zelda tree.
yeah,
There
I
it
was
is.
just
Yep.
curious. Well, I mean, you're referencing something that's on screen that's not viewable by
Well,
anyone
that's
but
what I
me
was
and
gonna
you.
say, though.
So,
I know it's not viewable, but I was literally just about to ask, can you get that
yeah.
up right now?
So creation of the sword, and then it splits at Ocarina of Time to hero successful. Ganon hero is
Yeah.
successful, where the sacred realm is protected during the child era. Ganon is sealed away in the adult era, or the hero is defeated, which is the hero's decline, which is Links to the Past, Oracle Season of Ages, Awakening, Link Between World, and that's where the original Zelda is
Did
and
you play
everything.
Did you play Link Between Worlds
I don't
for the
think I beat
DS?
it, but it was
You had
3DS.
high rule, and the super original low rule.
Yeah, low rule. No, I have it. I haven't beaten it though. I need to play that though for
I
sure.
like that.
I need to play through all of these again.
Dude, I've been thinking about it because I keep looking at my game collection. I'm like, dude, I should just sit down and just play all the Zeldas again.
Where is this? This timeline doesn't have
Wind Waker,
no, it doesn't have the new one.
Breath of the Wild.
Yes. Yeah, Breath of the Wild wasn't on there.
That timeline's probably before 2017.
Yeah, I know it's an old picture, but I wonder where
Breath of the
where that
Wild
one
falls
fits in
sequence.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? I probably got a book somewhere that tells me about it.
Yep.
But yeah, so anything new in WoW world? I know that the
Well, I
beta was
haven't.
just announced. You
Yeah, I
don't read
haven't.
anything? You don't read the
Well,
news?
I should for this now, but I haven't been on it much. I know right now with the beta going, it's the plague right now. So like it's literally how long can you stay alive? Like, do you remember that when Wrath first came out, and or pre-Wrath came out, the pre-patch to Wrath?
Okay.
Um, so the plague is running rampant, and like you could literally become a scourge. So like you had to. That's what's going on again right now. So everyone's just trying to stay alive right now. The 26th is when full Wrath Classic goes live. So that's what's going on there. But like I said, I haven't touched much WoW since I've been playing Assassin's Creed because I was trying to broaden my horizons. Broaden my
Yeah.
horizons.
So it looks like someone's trying to add Breath of the Wild to this. It says that Breath of the Wild falls under the hero's decline, to where
Makes sense.
Ganon's still alive. And then Ganon is then resurrected after 10,000 years, where he's
Boy,
been
10,000
turning
years really leaves a crick in the neck.
he's been turning into demise. And then it's like here's another like continuation of the story back to be like cyclical. That says Zelda and Ganon
Word of
regain
the day.
godhood
Cyclical.
to where Zelda becomes the goddess Hylia to be the light to Ganon's demise is dark. And
Wait,
then the
she
final war.
becomes the goddess?
Yes, that's what this is saying. This is someone's theory.
So this
And
is just
then the
someone's
final
plan.
war between Zelda and Demise, destruction of Hyrule and the Master Sword, the Triforce returns as the deities. Hylia and Demise return to the godly realm. The creation of Hyrule is formed. The sacred realm is left with the Triforce, and then it just goes all the way back. Which, I mean, it would make sense in the Zelda universe because everything is kind of like cyclical. Not to use the same word again, but
No, I mean, word of the day, we got to use it 5 times by the end of the episodes, as well as keep quoting Back to the Future. So,
yeah, we just gotta stay cyclical. Like, you can't just say it after I say it just to add another counter. You gotta
no,
wait.
that one wasn't in the counter. No.
Okay. Yeah. So wait, what were we just talking about?
We were talking about games that we like the story of the games and playing that.
I teed you up so good to use the word cyclical.
I know,
and you.
and I avoided it.
But yeah, so Tarkov just put out a like backend patch the other day, and there's no like patch notes because it was backend server patch, but I swear to
Every time you
God,
say back end, I want to make a sexual innuendo, but go ahead.
I, when they updated the server infrastructure, um, I swear they updated the scav AI. I mean, we've been just getting like just gang banged by these things just popping out of the woodwork. Like it's been ridiculous, but that's what we've been up to. Just playing a lot of Tarkov, getting our asses handed to us.
This is a question I should have asked a long time ago. Who produces, makes, whatever, develops Tarkov?
Battle State Games. They're out of St. Petersburg, Russia.
Ah, so it is a Russian video game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
They
The
drink
guy.
lots of vodka while they update the servers.
Yep. Yeah. Probably. So, oh, talking about updating the
I've been
servers.
working
So
on
when
my
they
voiceover work since speaking with Tyler, if you haven't noticed.
so when they updated the servers the other night, they do kind of like a WoW thing to where they say like, hey,
Give you
if
an
you're in
alert.
game, yeah, you get a. So it said you got 33 minutes left to get out, and I checked the raid time and it said 33 minutes. So I'm like, okay, they gave us an alert, they adjusted the raid time, we just need to get out, so let's go find what we can. So we're running around doing our thing, and Jamie's like, I got some stuff I need, so I'm gonna go extract. So she goes and gets out, and not even 5 seconds later, like we still had like 16 minutes left on the raid time, servers go down. I'm like, what the fuck's the point of telling us that we have a specific amount of time if you're not gonna give us that specific amount of time? They were probably just sitting there doing shots. So I dare you to push it. I dare you to push the button. Just I dare you to push it.
Like, we gave you fair warning. Now we are going to just pull the plug.
in communist Russia, game screw you. No, yeah.
Dude, why isn't that a gaming company just named Game Screw You?
That I mean, there's a lot of games that would fall into that category. They'd have to buy FromSoft, the Dark Souls developers. They'd have to buy Battlestate Games. They'd have to buy like just all the
original
dumb...
for NES Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That
Without
game
Game
was
Genie, Genie, that game was ruthless.
there. Yeah, there were so many, or any of the original NES Mega Man. Those things were so goddamn hard.
Dude, one of my college roommates actually beat that game. And yeah, what were they playing it on? Because they were emulating it, of course. But it still had like the no save feature, so like left it up for however long. I think it was like a week straight. But yeah,
Yeah.
beat it, and like I remember the night that he was anticipating beating it. Like I had some nerdy roommates, and they got together and had like like a like it felt like it was like I don't know, like rivals like a gender reveal party or something. Like the way they got together to support him and watch him beat it. But no, it was kind of cool though to see. But it was a little over the top. But yeah, to beat the Mega Mans, those were dumb.
Yeah, Mega Mans are they were fun. They're just
So
so
why
hard.
I've often wondered that though, for real, like as far as game development has come, like I feel like every game, and maybe it I don't know if it's because I was just so little and didn't quite know, but like I felt like every game back then was just hard AF. Like even Mario's, like Super Mario Bros. Like I still don't think I've ever beaten Super Mario Bros. Like even with all the world warps and everything like that, they're just stupid difficult in my opinion.
I've beat that game. I
And it
mean,
also has
it is.
is it a lot of it though because it has no save features or anything like that too, so you have to beat it in one sitting or whatever.
So
Um,
there's actually a yeah, there's some science and psychology behind it. So the early games, like the 1980, early 90 game era, early 90 game, they started to get away from it more is when they incorporated like save features and stuff like that. But it's on the tail end of arcade cabinets.
that's
Uh,
what I think. That's yeah. What I
yeah,
was literally gonna
which
say. They're trying to bring arcades to the home.
what that's exactly what it was is the arcade cabinets were like the original video games, and the whole when you
Mhm,
designed a video game, you designed it to be digestible in 30 seconds, and you wanted someone to throw another quarter in the machine to keep playing.
mhm.
So you didn't want the longer someone sat there and played one life, that means you're losing revenue, and that's just
Correct.
how games were made back then. So I think that a lot of it has to do with that. But
I mean, that actually makes a lot of sense now that you bring that up. Because yeah, the games like as soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, they all have arcadey feel to them, and arcade games were difficult if you think about it, and that's why, because it was a revenue generator and they wanted you to throw that quarter in. So when the first games came to home console, yeah, they're bringing that arcade feel back home, and yeah, that's what's going on then. That's an interesting concept to explore, but it makes sense.
yeah, I mean, it's just how they were at that point. And when they started to realize that people at home wanted to spend more time playing, and I mean, they're not putting a quarter in a envelope and mailing it to you in between every death. So that's when I would think that the saves started to come in to play.
Hmm.
And they're
It's
like, okay, well, let's start designing around that.
it's really cool to see how game companies, well, nowadays I feel like we've tailored off of that, which we're not going to get you pet peeved again because you were with the business mentality to game development now versus just game integrity. But prior to that, like games evolving based on fan and consumer interest. So like,
Yeah. You mean like actually trying to please your customer
mhm.
and
But
not like swindle them out of an extra 99 cents?
let's here's something an interesting thought though that I was thinking about the other day when rewatching some of our videos. Um, when we were talking about like game or companies creating original content, like that's what game integrity is. You come up with something new. If it's going to be great, then people are going to want to play it. It's going to spread word of mouth. You don't have to have all these, like you say, the pay to win features, stuff like that. But it got me thinking: are sequels to games, can you consider them original?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
if you think
mean,
about it,
what's your
because like
definition of original?
you something completely new. So like technically, like yeah, you can have a completely new story and completely new plot and this and that. So that's all original, but the game title itself and the game franchise itself, the name, that's what's gonna sell, you know? So is it still a way to get a quick buck just because you know this franchise is a lucrative franchise, like any of the Marios. You know what I mean? Lucrative franchise. They're all original in their own right in that it's all new content and new world you're exploring, new method of attacks or whatever, you know, with the you had what was it Sunshine that you had the water gun and I don't know what they have in Galaxy or whatever, but and then in Odyssey you got Cappy and stuff like that. So that stuff's all original, but it still is Mario. So does that make it unoriginal at the same time? You know what I mean? Because you know, just because of the franchise, it's gonna sell. Like I don't know, it just got me thinking about that. Like, is it really original to just keep exploiting the same franchise?
Doesn't matter.
To them, no, and to me, no.
Well, I mean,
Me
I think
personally,
using
no, it does not matter to me. I'm gonna play it because, like I just said, I know it's Mario, it's cool, so I'm gonna play it for the franchise. But it is also fun to see what they've done different to keep me interested. So to
so let
me, it
me
doesn't matter. But
yeah, let me use this as an example. So you look at the Mario franchise. Each installment added something new, added a new ways to play, new ways to interact with Mario and the world that he's in. Just because it utilizes the same characters and the same story, the content is new. The content's original.
Mhm.
But if you look at Overwatch and Overwatch 2,
There's an Overwatch too.
yeah, it's coming out in like a month or something,
Oh.
2 months. So here, let me explain to you what the changes are. They updated the lighting. They gave you one less character, and they gave you a new agent. That's it. So it's a 5v5 instead of a 6v6. The levels look a little bit brighter, and you have a new champion. Oh, and there's a campaign, but the campaign Overwatch 2 is free, so you can play the multiplayer, but you have to fork them $60 if you want to play the campaign. I'm like, okay, you literally did nothing to the game.
Still developed by Blizzard, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
did everything as it completed yet?
I'm like, well, they're in transition from what I understand. So yeah, I mean, it's not like they have a scheduled close date and everything.
This was already probably well in development before. So basically, they're over glorifying a patch by calling it Overwatch 2.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I think is hilarious. I'm like, this should have been DLC. Like, this should have been an expansion. Like, WoW expansions have had more in their sequel than Overwatch 2. So, I mean, it's...
Do you think Blizzard was going outside of their wheelhouse by trying to do an FPS?
I don't think... I think they should have done it. I think that it was a good idea for them, because like if you just stick with one thing, you're gonna get pigeonholed. You need to stretch your wings. You need to like show the industry that you're more than just a one-trick pony. But
if that pony's winning the Kentucky Derby every time, does it matter?
Yeah, because it's diversification. So if you throw all your money, into gold, and then all of a sudden gold tanks, like you got nothing. So you gotta have a diverse portfolio because someone's gonna come around and make a better game than what you did.
Nobody has in the 18 years that World of Warcraft's been out. Nobody's made a better. And this is just my own personal opinion, because I know each expansion has seemed to have something left to be desired from each previous one. But if you look at when Overwatch came out, I feel like that runs parallel with WoW's expansion decline. So do you think trying to focus on both projects, they screwed themselves in WoW?
I mean, no, because Legion was one of the best expansions.
And when did Legion come out?
2018.
Nope, 2016. So it was, and when
The
did?
same year as Overwatch.
Yeah.
But so here, Overwatch 2. Here's the new stuff. Free to play live service multiplayer. PvP reimagined. 5v5 experience with new and reworked heroes, new maps and modes. Seasonal model. Free updates every 9 weeks to ensure that you always have a new experience. Cross progression. Play across multiple gaming platforms and then a PvE experience. Play through the story through a full PvE experience starting next year. That's Overwatch 2.
Not gonna lie, the campaign would be kind of fun.
Yeah, but
what they're doing to the multiplayer is nothing.
Like,
and it is. I agree with what you're saying. It is unoriginal, and they're putting a 2 stamp on it.
I mean, I guess to be fair, to cut them some slack,
incorporating a whole campaign is kind of.
This is more or less what Call of Duty does every year. This is more or less what what was that game? Titanfall did a couple of years ago too. So on the Xbox One, one of their launch games, Titanfall, it was a multiplayer only, like, amazing first-person shooter. Like, it was so good, but it was multiplayer only. There was little content there. But when they came out with Titanfall 2, they added a campaign. They grew upon the multiplayer, but it was all new content. I think the issue I have with this is they do have new maps, new game modes, one new hero. But aside from that, all the old maps are there, all the old heroes are there. Yeah. Everything is there. It literally just feels like it feels like an expansion. It feels like a DLC, and they're marketing the multiplayer, like, very much so.
Yeah, if they were marketing the campaign more, that would be different.
It would feel different.
Yeah, and that's to what you were just alluding to, because I can jive with that, with what you say, like, this is very similar to what COD does and stuff like that. But when you say COD's multiplayer, it's strictly new maps. You know, maybe in future DLCs they have some of the previous maps that come back or something like that, but the original ones that come with the next one are just all new maps. So you don't. So like you said with them, they have a couple new maps, but all the old ones are still there. All new characters. Or in COD, it's not new characters, but it's different weapons or things like that, and I don't know what that is.
Wax paper at the bottom, and I got it like halfway down my throat, and I'm like, that doesn't feel right.
Another sexual innuendo. Just teed up.
As I got white shit on my face.
Yeah. But yeah, I can see why this doesn't feel like that. The campaign, yes, that's obviously new, but the multiplayer does not feel original at all.
No, it's just weird too, like the whole how they're focusing their marketing efforts. Like, I don't know who signed off on this, but any gamer, any consumer would be like, hey, I'm not paying full price for this. But that's what they're.
It's fair to say this could have been influenced by the buyout and everything like that too. Who knows if somebody was seeing the writing on the wall and this and that, and it's like, we just want to try to get one more bang out before the merger or before the buyout or something. I don't know. Who knows? That's business for you, though.
The Microsoft deal,
because let's be honest, people are going to buy it.
I think that the Microsoft deal is actually going to do them good.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that. Do you think WoW Mobile will be a thing?
There was conversation. I saw some rumors about a WoW Mobile, but did you see they announced they did announce a Warcraft mobile game that they're doing. It's actually in the launcher right now. You can sign up for the
Warcraft
beta.
mobile would be cool. I don't know if a WoW mobile would be enjoyable to me,
No, no,
but a
no. It's a
Warcraft mobile would
no,
be
no, no.
cool.
By not like Warcraft, not RTS. Like it's a mobile game in the Warcraft universe. It is called, where is it? Mobile. Here we go. Warcraft Arclight Rumble. It's a tower defense. Um, to where you build up like an army and you just send them over to, so you're in, the whole game takes place in like the inn that Hearthstone does. So this is all set up kind of like a pinball machine almost, um to where you have your little army that you set up to go and just fight like a tug of war battle and get to the end of the like goal of the map. um it definitely looks interesting,
Yeah,
but yeah, I'll definitely check it out once it launches.
for sure.
But we'll see. I think they're trying to branch out a little bit and do something different.
See, I've never been that big into mobile games. Like if I'm playing a mobile game, like it's something that I want to be like minimally invested in. Like I'm thinking of something that I just kill time playing through, like in a waiting room or something for my colonoscopy. I don't know.
Which I mean, it looks like this would be that.
But I don't know, like if that's got like a campaign and achievements and quests and stuff like that, like that's, to me, that's something that I would want to be more invested in, and I would rather not play it on a mobile device.
Play it on
Um,
an iPad
which
sitting on the
which is
couch.
weird, if you think about it, because this is mobile, and I played the shit out of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Which is weird then, that I think that when it's on a phone and I got to download it from an app store versus shit like this, or I mean, you could even, but I very rarely play this handheld. I almost
I like
always play
all.
it docked. Um, but
I almost always am playing my Switch in handheld.
oh really? See, that makes
Yeah,
sense why you really want the OLED. For me, I don't like.
I actually don't think I'm gonna go for the OLED. I think what I'm gonna end up doing is getting the Steam Deck,
What's that?
because
Is that
oh,
like a
you don't know
console
what the
that
Steam
Steam's
Deck
doing?
is?
It sounds like a
Yeah,
console that Steam's putting out.
yep. It's already out. But I'm just waiting. I'm on like the
Steam's coming
pre-order
out
list.
with a steamy dick.
Yeah, I'm on the pre-order list for this. I'm just waiting for them to let me know that I'm able to get it. But
It
it
is it handheld
runs.
only?
No, you can dock it and plug it. It's a full computer. You can
Oh,
dock it, plug it into a monitor, and get like, it's Linux based, so you can run whatever you want
wasn't
on
Linux
it.
shit?
No, Linux is like one of the best operating systems. The only
I thought
problem is,
Linux always had problems.
no, Linux always has problems because the people who use it don't know how to use Linux. Like, well, hold on. The people who try to use it don't know how to use Linux. They think that it's going to be a jump in like Windows. And when, yes, it looks similar, but the way you interact with it is much different. Um, but no, Linux is great. It's incredibly, the reason they're using it, and the reason that there's a lot of like my print server for my 3D printer runs off a Linux distro. It's on a really small microcomputer called a Raspberry Pi, and the version of Linux that I have on it is called Raspbian, which it's a very stripped down version of Linux that is made to run on that very limited hardware set. And that's where Linux shines, is you can strip shit out of it, you can add stuff to it, you can make Linux run on like, people have ran Linux on the new like LCD, like, um what's what what's the pregnancy test things, Like they've ran Doom on a pregnancy test. Like yeah,
Jesus.
yes. But like it's very extensible. You can put it on almost anything. And it's very efficient because of that. Like there's not a lot of shit on top of it, not a lot of bloatware. But on here you can add emulators to the Steam library on the Steam Deck. So they have a Linux based Switch emulator that you can just dump your Switch cartridges, put them on your Steam Deck, and play your Switch games on the Steam Deck. Like, so as well as all your other PC games, you can also have this set up as a in-home streaming device too, to where you can play something on your gaming PC and have it stream to this and then like play it on the couch. But it'll run. My buddy Mike played Elden Ring from his Steam Deck, which is a
Also,
very intensive
this is
game.
on the shelves already.
Yeah, no, this came out earlier this year, but everybody wants it. Like they're back ordered right now. This one, if you get on the reservation list right now, expected delivery is December.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Interesting. So how does that work though? Like I said, I'm not that crazy with um technology patents or copyrights or whatever. Da 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 da. So it sounds like they're using technology similar though to what Nintendo did with the Switch. Like how? I
Wait,
mean,
what do you mean by that?
with the way that you can dock it and then play on other things and stuff like that.
I mean,
Like
that's just it. It's just a USB out. Like you can't really copyright or patent like
okay, because that's what I was gonna
using
say. Is
a
there?
USB external monitor.
So yeah,
Like,
the tech that Nintendo used for that was nothing new that they created on their own. They
no,
just
I can
realized
actually.
they just realized what the potential was or
So
whatever.
I have a USB-C like pocket adapter here. So it's USB-C,
Yeah.
and then it's got HDMI, VGA. It's
Hmm.
got a network port on it. I can use this as a Switch dock. Like
Hmm.
the Switch has no
Yeah,
proprietary
that
tech
makes
really
sense.
in their dock either.
Now, what about the, to make sure I did catch that correctly, you said that I could put my Switch cartridges in the Steam
So
Deck and do
that's
that stuff.
well, you can't put the Switch cartridges in the deck. What you
But
do is you would have to you to legally do this, you would have to make an archival copy of the physical game cartridge that you own, which would require you to have a modded Switch to where you can dump the game cart and make a ROM of that game.
so this is
And
what I was
then,
gonna get
yes,
to. So because
we
I was
don't
gonna
condone
say that.
piracy. Don't download your games.
Correct. Yeah, we don't do that because I was going to say because in order to do if that was something that was legally viable, there must have been some type of deal or contract or whatever between Steam and Nintendo then to do this. But
No,
we don't know if that exists.
no, it definitely doesn't exist.
Oh,
But you can do it.
we're going to edit this part out. No.
Oh, no.
No.
No, there's people there's much larger fish than
I
us that
mean
have already
I
covered
mean
this.
if they would you rather them learn it from us, Nick, or would you rather them pick it up on the other tubers of the U and the other T witches? You
Yeah,
know, where do you want them
I'd,
to learn this from?
I'd rather them come to us with their questions and concerns and talk it through with a
Right?
responsible adult than learn it on the
It's just so
streets.
alarming at how younger and younger ages they're learning about these things now, though. And
You got to have a talk about privacy with your kids.
we got to have a talk about copyright and piracy. You know, we got the birds and the bees, but we got copyright and piracy. So, uh, when two companies want to market something together.
But they can't come to a mutual agreement. No one gave the consensual okay.
One didn't take no for an answer.
That's called piracy.
Oh God. Anyway, I think we found our 30-second skit.
Jamie's telling me my feet smell to keep him away from her.
I just kicked my desk in the process of doing that.
Yeah. I think you may have just broke a Twitch terms of service.
By showing feet?
Yeah.
Wait, for real?
I believe so. I don't know, maybe. I
Can't
think there
show
might
my feet?
I think there needs to have to be something else that happens with that, but
With my feet?
well, I mean like something else with yeah.
I was gonna say they have socks on them. They're clothed. They weren't naked
They're
feet.
clothed.
And this is episode 18. We're legal now. I mean,
Let's see.
my feet, my choice. No.
Context matters. If you're showing it to creeps for a fetish, then yes, you'll be penalized. Apparently that's what it says.
Please don't tell me you have a fetish.
No.
Okay, good. We're good. Ow, I think I broke my pinky toe though. We'll see how that feels on the treadmill tomorrow.
Oh, good job.
That's good stuff. I ran a 6:22 mile today.
A 6:22 mile. When's the last time you did that?
I just told you like 8 hours ago.
What? Like, I mean, before that.
Probably the last time I ran the Shawshank Hustle, so 2019.
Wow. That's a lot. That's
3 years.
long.
3 years. Wow,
That's a
that
while back.
sounded like Cleveland from Family Guy.
Last long.
So hey, actually, talking about these companies, technology, stuff like that. Something we've been having to do with Viv lately. That's another conversation and stuff. It's especially like and we were just talking about birds and the bees. So, parental conversation and stuff. Screen time and use of screen time and stuff like that. Because Vivian, it could be a pain at time to brush her teeth, but she really likes the teeth brushing song Gesundheit.
I like spit everywhere.
That the whipped cream coming back up and out.
No, I don't know what that was.
But she really likes the teeth brushing song, and if we play that while we're trying to get her to brush her teeth, it helps her brush her teeth. And like at first, we're kind of feeling guilty for resorting to screens and videos and stuff like that to keep her attention to make
Hey
things do
man, whatever works.
Well, that's also kind of where I'm at though, because it's not like we're like doing this to like, because I definitely don't want to do that. Like if they're having an outburst or this and that or whatever, or like, oh, dad needs some time to myself right now, here's a tablet, and just use that as a babysitter, that's a no. But I feel like this is constructive, right? Do you think I'm
Yeah.
wrong? Am I trying to
No.
justify it?
No.
Because she's seeing it's the super simple songs, like that's the name of the thing. Super simple songs, brush your teeth. So it's these little cartoon characters that are brushing your teeth, and they like sing a song to it, and it's like brush your teeth day and night, brush your teeth so they stay white. Da 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 da.
There's nothing different than like reading the book or like teaching them to do. No.
Because that's where I'm kind of at. And then in the mornings, when I'm getting her ready for daycare and stuff like that, to help wake her up in the morning, she likes to see. Well, we started this, so I can't say she likes, like she developed it on her own, because obviously we are the ones who turn the TV on. But we'll put little videos on, with the Amazon, or no, what do we have? We have the Chromecast, so you have all your apps on there. So we have like YouTube Music on there, and there's children's songs playlist, and those teach like motor skills and stuff like that because they practice the dances with them. So the wheels on the bus, the doors open and shut, and she'll do those. Same thing with the Old MacDonald Had a Farm, like that's on there. So it like gets me thinking. It's like, okay, what makes it different? Because growing up before you had all these things on TV, people just played all this music. They just played the song, so you're only listening to it. Now there's a visual input with it. Is it really as bad as people make it sound to be? Or like, oh, it's screen time. Um, I personally don't think it is, because if anything, it could be more constructive, because now she's having a visual input to the horse says neigh, and it's so fun to watch her too, because she's picking up all of those animals, and you'll hear her all the time now. You say, what does the horse say? She'll go neigh. And what does the cow say? Moo. Like, she's picking all these things up, and now she's actually starting to say the animals too. This morning she said horse, or tried, it came out like hares, like that's what she said.
So I think like screen time and like playing mindless games that are, well, not really mindless games, just like wasting time that has no mental benefit are
Stimulation
two
or
different things.
mental
Like,
challenge. Yeah.
yeah, because like, okay, what you're just saying there, to me, there's no difference between that and giving them
Looking at a
one of
book with a
those.
picture stimuli.
Well, yeah, the book, or the books that have like the button that will like talk to you, or like the, when we had that, like, I don't know what you call it, it was like that carousel thing where you pull aside and then it spins and then
She
like
has,
points
yeah, we have that,
yeah,
yeah.
like it's taking all of that and just putting it on an iPad or on a
Yeah.
phone. Like, it's the same thing.
It is
But
well
now
educational material.
if you gave her like Candy Crush and you're like, here, go play this, like,
Yeah.
that's something different.
And that's where I'm at. Yeah, because that's where I'm at with that. Because also, further with this, like, the whole limiting screen time and stuff like that. So, like, I'm for limits to an extent, but I don't know, at the same time, it's almost like I want to ask why. Because what world do you think they're going to grow up in nowadays? Especially once they're adults and everything like that. What's the world going to be like at that point? Like, it's almost impossible to find any job nowadays that doesn't have tech influence nowadays, that you have to at least know how to use an email account or know how to
Well,
do,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
but
So,
I
like,
mean, there's excuse me, there's a lot of science behind how being in nature and doing stuff outside of electronic interaction helps stimulate a different part of
so
your
okay.
brain.
So no, I totally get that. I'm not trying to say sacrifice any of
That's
that. Um, but as far as like on a day where going outside is not gonna happen, like it's raining, thunderstorm, this and that, da 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 da. If they want to pick up their device to be
mhm.
their entertainment or distraction for the day, if it's, if it's something constructive on it, entertaining and constructive, it's fun and educational. The Spanish Turbo Man. But like something like that, I have no problem with that. Um, Even so, if it's like you and I've had this talk about video games and stuff like that, they can foster all these soft skills and everything like that. Um, so I don't know. It's
No, I
hard
don't
for me
see
to
a
say
problem
that
with it.
yeah. Again,
If mom and dad
everything in
limited my
moderation.
screen time, I would have never been where I'm at now. So like,
But everything
it's
in moderation for sure. But like, I don't. The argument for monitoring screen time, like, again, at the sacrifice of, if you're truly sacrificing going out and doing stuff like that, that's something different. But if you're still getting that,
if
and
it's
then
coming at the detriment of like your social experiences, like if you're never leaving your room, if you're not eating, if you're not like
yeah,
staying hygienic,
that's
like
bad.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's it's something that I know we're gonna have to talk about and stuff, and have a cohesive plan of attack for. But I'm all for using, like, I think, which I believe a lot of places are like this nowadays, but technology in the classrooms, particularly like cell phones and stuff like that. Like, obviously, you don't want it out to be a distraction in the class, but I don't think it should be something that if it's out, it's confiscated anymore,
Yeah.
because cell phones are such a huge tool nowadays, especially in the business world, and if you want to get a job and stuff like that, and da 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 da. Like people make the comment, and this is something that I've been thinking about rather recently. People make the comment, oh, if there's somebody they see the homeless person on the corner who's got an iPhone, they're like, oh, how can he be homeless but have an iPhone? And it's like, honestly, that's probably the only thing he has. And he needs to have that because he's trying to get jobs. And
Hmm.
he needs to have some way to be able to communicate with employers and fill out applications because everything's digital nowadays and stuff like that. So if he
Not
wants
only
to
that,
better
but phones
himself,
are just so ubiquitous that
yeah,
like you could find one in the trash can somewhere
that
probably.
too.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm just looking up to see if you can get a app for a graphing calculator. Like instead
oh,
of
I'm sure
going
you could
and
now.
buying a graphing calculator, just download an app.
Yeah. But like that's what I think needs to be fostered in the classrooms now, is how to utilize these devices as tools. Because yeah, you definitely don't want them distractions in the classroom, but teaching the potential of the devices and incorporating that in lessons now and stuff like that. Um, Particularly, I think from the curriculums, anything memorization based just needs to be tossed out now. Like
100%.
like memorizing the president's United States. Why when I can just Google it in 20 seconds on my phone?
Okay,
Um,
Mister, I went to school for academia. What the hell is the point of memorization?
it is stimulating. Oh, so what is so what memorization is?
Why, yeah, why do you teach? Why is it drilled in elementary school? And even all the way up and through college, I had to memorize shit. Like just here's a textbook, learn this material, regurgitate it for a grade. Well, okay, sorry. Here's a textbook, memorize the material, regurgitate it for a grade. You're not actually learning anything. You're just memorizing facts. Like I don't understand what the purpose of
So
that is.
memorization is linked to the hippocampus and the neocortex and the amygdala. So when you're doing anything that involves memorization, your brain is a muscle. And just like when you're working out everything out, you're working out muscle groups. That's what all these different subjects and different styles of learning or different approaches to learning stuff like that help foster. So that's what
But what,
memorization is doing. So I'm with you. So
no, but I get that. But
Mhm.
when you learn
The
stuff,
method
when
and
you
what they're doing
actually
it.
when you actually learn something, when you're learning a hard topic, when you're like when I'm trying to figure out how to do something in Unity and I have a problem and I'm researching it and trying to figure out how to solve it, there's when you learn something, there's that eureka moment where it
Mhm.
clicks and it makes sense and you're like,
And it's
I
never gonna be forgotten.
understand that.
Mhm,
Yes, that is learning.
mhm.
That is exercising your brain
Memorizing
in
isn't learning.
no, that's deductive reasoning, that's analytic
Mhm,
like thinking, that's you're going through every step of problem solving. You're going through proofing out solutions, you're going to trial and error, you're going to like when it works, then you may even validate why it works and you really drive it home. But when you memorize something, what is that actually doing? What is the good there? Like all your like are you is it like a stomach where you just shove more food in and then tomorrow I'll be able to eat more food? Like
in a sense. So, what does memorizing do to the brain? Memorization increases the size and improves the function of memory-related brain structure. Memorization enhances the neurological flexibility of the brain, referred to as neuroplasticity. Memorization exercises more extensive sections of the brain than more passive activities such as reading. So what that's getting into, again, the actual memorizing of the material, you're not necessarily going to remember that material if it's not something that's you're particularly passionate about. This that you're going to remember it for the test that you got to take or something like that, but then you're going to forget about it, 6
God,
months
I
down the
had a
road.
hard time
But
remembering it for the next hour.
right. But what that's doing by going through the steps of the memorization exercises and this and that, you are exercising that part of the brain to then the way I'm interpreting this is to then, when you have this eureka moment in the thing you are passionate about, that part of your brain now exercise enough to store that appropriately so that you aren't going to forget it later on. Does that kind of make sense? That's kind of the way I'm interpreting this. It increases the size,
Yeah,
improves the function of memory related brain structures. So
yeah,
it's basically building your filing cabinet or your archive for the things that you are going to want to remember.
yeah, that makes
That makes
sense.
sense. But no, and that's exactly what I'm getting at though with what education is. So because you hit it on the head as far as the way that memorizing those things, like memorizing the presidents or memorizing the okay, I actually kind of did like the periodic table, but memorizing like other stuff is bogus. It's boring and it's not fun. It's not a fun way to learn. But there are so many other things out there that foster that same brain development through other memorization tactics. There's games that involve memory. All your card flipping games where you had to do matches and
Mhm.
stuff like that. There's video games that incorporate memory and stuff like that that you have to remember things. So like, I don't know. There's so many other avenues to explore to do these things nowadays to foster this brain development nowadays that I still feel like we're in stone ages with our education system.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's it's definitely a thought-provoking thing, and I wish that we were able to solve all of the problems, but
Oh, dad and I solved it like 2 months ago with a we had no, we sat there we stayed up till like 1:30 in the morning and had a six-pack of the Sam Adams summer ale between the two of us and
move
had
over,
this
Betsy
conversation.
Davos. ChknAtk coming for your job.
But this is one of the things we talked about, and then dad actually he did bring up one of these questions though, which I think I provided a solid answer, and I would like your thought on it. Um, if we do
42.
the answer to the universe, um, I was talking about like if we bring technology into the classroom and start incorporating it more and using it to help or the understanding of what this tool is capable to do and what you can get out of it and da 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 da. If that's how we started, structuring lessons and stuff like that, dad brought up, he goes, well, that's not going to work because that's going to be super stressful for the parents because the parents aren't going to know how to do the stuff and use that tech to help their kids with the homework when they come home and da 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 da. And I said, honestly, no,
What a
I don't.
boomer.
Well, I that's kind of what I said. I said, no offense, dad. I said, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I said, because your generation is like the last generation before that, and you guys aren't the ones.
Dad, you plan on having another?
Yeah, that's what I can say. You guys aren't the ones with the kids in the system anymore. I said that those who have the kids in the system have now grown up parallel with the technology, and we keep learning it as it's coming out and everything like that. Um, so that was my answer to that. I said I don't think it would be an issue for them to be able to help teach their kids it and everything because now the parents who have their kids in school and stuff like
I
that,
mean,
we've
yeah,
all been
they're not going to
exposed to
be able to.
technology for almost our whole life.
They're not going to be like some IT whiz, but they're going to be able to utilize an iPad, open up the app, work the app, help their kid through their schoolwork. Like they're going to be able to do exactly what mom and dad
Yeah.
did with a textbook.
Mhm.
Like they're the
I was
same
trying
exact
not
thing.
to be that insensitive and try not to be like, Dad, you're just old. But
Well, yeah, I mean, it just comes down
but
like that's
that's what I
that's
think it is.
exactly
That
what you're
generation
just
is
replacing the textbook with a iPad.
because I remember growing up, I had that thought, dude. I was like, dude, I love playing video games. And I was like, but I don't see mom and dad ever playing games. I was like, is that just part of getting old that you just stop playing video games? I was like, is that going to be me someday? I don't ever want to stop. But then as I've gotten older, it's just hit me. It's like, no, they don't really play video games too much because they didn't grow up with them. They came into their lives a little later and it wasn't like part of their lives, part of their molding. It wasn't a core memory for them, whereas for us that's what it is. So it's just stayed with us, and we
I
continue
don't
to game and grow with it.
like
And I don't think it is everything that's going to fall out, and
that's kind of funny because like Mom was the one that kind of got my love for games started, and then she stopped playing games when like the N64 came out. But then now we can't get the goddamn iPhone out of her hand. So like, what like
I mean, I think I
I
have a hunch for that because the iPhone is still simple enough where
you touch
only
it.
it's only a
Boop,
couple
boop.
controls. Whereas once they started to have controllers that had, Z, it had a D-pad joystick, A, B, right bumper, left bumper, all that stuff.
So she only has motor skills for her thumbs.
Well, but that's kind of what because that's Dad says the same thing too when it comes to games and stuff like that. Once you start adding all those extra things in, it becomes
It's
too
the
much
same,
for those ones,
but it's the
because
same
it's
thing. Like they had to learn. They know how to use a Super Nintendo controller. Like they know how to use an NES
that
controller.
had 4 buttons.
Well, yeah, Super
But
Nintendo had 8.
either way, like it was so simple,
Well,
and they were still those arcadey style games that they were playing.
yeah.
That's what I think has a lot to it. Because
Well, yeah. Now you got.
mom's asked it again because she wants, she's asked me because when we got her the Switch and she has Link's Awakening. She's like, she goes, I still can't quite figure it out, and I want to because I want to play it. And she's at, a couple times, just show her the controls and stuff like that. So I know I got to get on that, but um,
We
every
could
time
do
I'm
that
over
when
there,
I come in. But yeah,
just
just
Viv,
show.
yeah, Viv takes
Be like
over
this.
whenever we're
This
hanging out.
button is the start button. Here's
Yeah.
the picture of the controller.
But if you
Like,
think about when she played that game originally, it was just the NES controller, you know? Now
well,
she's
yeah.
got
Now
the
you
Switch,
got like.
it's got double joysticks and L and R buttons, which actually all do things in the game still now.
Yeah,
Like
and then like.
Nintendo, when they remastered it, they incorporated these extra features, the extra button features to be utilized in the game. And it
But you
can be
look
used
at like
for them.
these other games like Assassin's Creed and like RPGs and everything, like if you hold down like left bumper and then hit down on the D-pad and then hit X, it'll do something.
Dude,
Like,
well, that's in these like literally I was just before the podcast I told you I was taking on that fleet of ships.
mhm.
Um I was looking at ships over here launching mortar strikes at them over here, which to launch a mortar it requires me to hold down left trigger. I used right thumbstick to guide where I want the mortar, right trigger to launch the mortar. So I'm looking at them over here while my cannons, my broadside cannons, are pointing the other directions. And as soon as I launch that mortar, I'm now looking back over here, switching over to right trigger to now launch my cannons this way. And so I was hitting 3 boats at once. And I was literally thinking about that as I was playing. I was like, oh, all while steering the ship too. I wasn't immobile. I was moving too. And it's like I was thinking about that in the moment, maybe not that particular one, but I know as I've done some of these things, I'm like, man, I wonder what Lindsay would even think with me trying to do this because Lindsay will game a little bit, but she's when the controls get that advanced, she's like, no. But I was
Mhm.
definitely thinking like, what the hell would Dad think? Watching someone, or trying to do this. I try to imagine Dad trying to do this.
Well, yeah,
And
it's just is I mean, just like anything else, it's practice. Like you
mhm.
learn through the tutorial, they teach you how to do it in a confined like sandbox area, and then they're like, "I here's one ship," and then you're like, "Okay, I feel comfortable," and then they're like, "Okay, here's 2 ships," and then like,
But like, does this have something to do with it? Like, do you think when we're younger, just due to the psychological innate desire to learn, it's easier to learn things then and then practice after that rather than trying to learn something new now at this stage in your life and then practice after that?
no, because I mean, you can learn a new skill at any stage in your life. What I think it more has to do with is just the the neural pathways and the like muscle memory that was made just by doing this for so long, like playing all these different games, like you
And
just
that's what
get
I'm saying, because
used to.
we started so young though, playing and stuff like that. First, because I think that there is something to when you started at how easy it is to pick things up. Because when you're younger, something's new and it's exciting and change is cool. You're like, oh, I want to do. Now, when you're older, we're creatures of habit and we're resistant to change. So now when we're older, something new happens and stuff like that. We're like, oh God, now I got to learn something new. Like, oh, I don't want to do this. I feel like there is a little maybe involvement with that
Yeah, I
fear.
mean, speak for yourself. I love doing new shit.
So don't get me wrong, I personally do too, but I do catch
I
myself with
think
that
that
sometimes.
creatures of habit thing, like I don't know how much of that is used as a crutch and how much of it is actually like legit science. Like I know that we do have a tendency towards habit, but it has been
Primal
proven.
brain is wired for survival.
But yeah, it has been proven too that breaking yourself out of that habit is beneficial for
Correct.
mental health,
Go watch
for
The
brain
Cruise.
stimulation,
Go watch The
everything.
Cruise.
Yeah,
Great movie.
but yeah, it's
Um,
So I don't. I'm really curious on like what actually is like our human nature is to survive, but when it comes
survivability
to
requires change and adapting.
but but our nature right now doesn't really require us to survive in the way that we used to.
Correct.
So we can have just this time to learn and do whatever the hell we want. So what I'm interested in is how many people are just intent not learning.
And you'd be surprised. There are a lot. And I think it's hard for you and I to fathom what the number actually would be because you and I are biased towards learning and want to do because that's who we are and that's who our personalities are when it comes to majority of things.
Mhm.
Um, so it's hard for us to think that there are people who don't think this way just because it's what you and I both think, like, so we just maybe assume that everybody thinks this way. But
Yeah.
there are a lot of people I guarantee that don't care to learn more once learning's done. Which that's actually, and we can end on this because we couldn't.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that as a parent, Lindsay and I had this talk the other day. Like, what is one of the biggest things that we would hope that we instill in our children? And for me, the biggest thing I want to instill in Vivian and future children that we have and things like that is to never lose touch with the desire or skills or passion to continue learning all throughout life. Because
Mhm.
I actually think you and I both would be surprised at how many people think learning just ends after school.
Mhm.
But no, there's so much more beyond that. And I just hope
Yep.
that I can instill something in them that gives them that passion to always want to learn something new, always want to take on a new challenge, always want to do something just for the desire of learning and the sake of obtaining new knowledge. I hope that I can instill that in them.
Yeah. So for everybody listening, all our fans, listeners, viewers, all that stuff, let us know what you guys are currently trying to learn, what you'd like to learn, what your thoughts and opinions are on this, and we'll talk about it at some point on another episode. But yeah, that was. I like how our conversations start off one place and then add on a TI 8400 graphing calculator.
Right?
Like, but yeah, that's all I got. Any
Oh, and that
last
graphing
thoughts?
calculator. Yeah, that graphing calculator, you can graph a cyclical um, function, I guarantee.
Problem. Forgot about that.
Yep.
But with that being said, thank you all for joining. Please like, subscribe, tell us what you think, what you want to hear, all that good stuff. Anything helps. All the thumbs ups, all that. Smash the button, hit the likes. Like, yeah,
Absolutely.
that all that jaded crap.
And thanks for joining us on a Thursday, all you mother cluckers.
We're not gonna make that a habit.
Oh, come on.
All
Fetch isn't gonna happen. Stop trying to make
right,
fetch happen.
everybody. Take it easy. Have a
Peace.
good one.